everybody, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. I hope you're all doing well. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I pick a picture to colour, which may seem to some people like it's really easy to pick a page, and I'll kind of explain some ways for me that make picking a page easy, but also I think it is sometimes really hard, especially if you're overwhelmed with the amount of books you have and the amount of different artists that you support through buying the books. So I thought it was a really interesting topic to talk about, so thank you so much, Easter, for your suggestion. Before we get started though, I just want to show you an update on some products that are now in my stationery shop. So keep checking back there if you're interested, because I do keep adding things. So the list that's there and the pictures that you see isn't the maximum amount of things that will be there, especially since it's the holidays now. I'm able to put more things on there and create new items, so it is an extensive list that will keep growing over time. So I've got quite a few things that I have added over the last couple of days. The first thing is this little packet which has some Japanese characters in. So this was a one-off piece of Japanese Moroki paper that I have, and there were just these cute characters on it, so I thought I would make stickers out of those. So this is a small sticker pack that I've made myself, and you get 10 stickers in there. You might remember that I had these tags up on my website. This is a mixed pack of 4 big, traditional size tags. I've now added these 10 mini tags, which are a quarter of the size, basically. So they're a lot smaller, and you get 10 in that pack. And I've also added some colour group packs. So we have a blue pack here. Again, you get 4. A pink pack, and a yellow pack. And one thing that I do just want to note is with all the mixed packs, I can never guarantee that the designs you see here will be the exact ones you get. So obviously, because it's called mixed, you might not get the same ones each time. So with all of those in terms of tags, I've added quite a few sticker packs. So again, before oops, let me just find the one I was talking about, never mind. So you might remember I did a sticker pack that had stars, hearts and circles on it as a mix. I have now created one that's just stars, and that's a mix of different patterns, and again I can't guarantee that those patterns will always be the same. And I've got circles, and I will be adding hearts at some point. So this was the one that I already had up on my website. And I've also made some craft paper brown ones, because if you wanted something plain just to wrap with, something like that, I thought they'd be quite good. You get 16 in that pack instead of 12. And then I've used my Japanese papers to make some more. So we have a 12 pack here again, which is the same as the others, and these larger circle stickers. So you get 8 in this pack, and it's something that I will be doing with my Cambridge imprint paper as well. So they will be coming soon. And the final thing which I have made are these paper clips. So this is going to be a completely new section under the shop title. So we have stickers, tags, and now the paper clips. So you get 8 in this pack, and I've used my Cambridge imprint paper. And yeah, if you like paper clips, it's maybe something you're interested in. So if you're if you love stationery, this might be something for you. But if you are thinking of purchasing, I thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy browsing on the website. So I will put the link in the description as always. It's underneath the ways to support the channel, but I will link it above that also. But yeah, let's get on with the video now. So I'm really excited to do this. So there are many different things to think about when picking a page. So sometimes it's really easy if you only have a small selection of books and you're trying to complete all of them. Then it's quite easy to pick a page. So say you only had one Joanna Basford book and a couple of others if you're a beginner, then you don't have as much selection to pick from. which is probably actually, you know, quite a good thing. But I think there are some factors to think about when you're picking a page. So for me, I always start thinking about, well, do I want to start a new page or carry on with a whip? Now, if you're carrying on with a whip, this video doesn't really apply. But if you're starting with a new page, obviously you need to find a book, and that's kind of what I will be talking about. So, one of the main things for me is, do I want to colour in a coloured book where I've done pictures in it before, or an uncoloured book? So there's the hashtag going on at the moment, Colour Your Hoard, and that's hosted by Lovella's Colouring. And obviously that's a really, really good one, because it can inspire you to colour in a book that you might not have coloured in yet. So for example, let me find one. I've got some books here that apply to different things. So this Peter Pan book by Fabiano Attanasio, I will be colouring in it soon because I'm going to do a video on it, because it's one of the books that I got with my Ko-fi money. And update on the Forest Girl book, I have emailed the seller and asked for a refund, and they haven't got back to me yet. So yeah, hopefully I will get a refund soon, because it was meant to arrive on the 16th of July, and then I will hopefully try and order it from Etsy. But it's really annoying, and I'm so sorry, and I feel terrible, because obviously it was your kindness and generosity that was able to, you know, have that book purchased, and so it's not even my money. So hopefully I can get that sorted. But yeah, if you're thinking of colouring in an uncoloured book, it sometimes can be a bit daunting, because, you know, there are all of these blank pages. But as you can see here, I've already kind of picked out some pages that I would be interested in doing. And what I'm going to do for you is pick a book and flip through it and pick pages out and tell you why I have picked them out, because I think that's quite important as well, you know, the factors that go into picking a page. So yeah, having an uncoloured book or a coloured book like this one here, the Ink House, and I've already coloured in before, is one of the big factors. So in terms of the style of colouring, I think there are quite a few different things. Now for your mood, you might not be feeling a really detailed page. You might just want to do something that's a bit more stress-free. So that is something that is important. So for me, if I just want to have some stress-free colouring that's quite minimal, I will go to a gorgeous book like this that I just use markers in and gel pen. I don't really have to worry about shading. I can just play around with my markers. I don't really tend to blend with my markers even that much. I do a bit, but it's really nice to just have something like this where I can just sit down and colour and not really worry about the colours, because as you can see here, blue leaves isn't realistic, but it really doesn't matter. So if you want a detailed page, and you know, some people really love detailed pages, you could go to something like Sprucious Boss by Tomislav Tomic. So his books are incredibly detailed, and I did one of his pages a couple months back. And again with this, it's incredibly detailed, but I did just use pencil, a marker and glitter. So even with a detailed book like this, you can still make it slightly less tricky for you. So one of the factors as well is whether you want to colour in a book where you want to do your best work. So for me, Ivy and the Inky Butterfly is a book where I want to do my best work, because I really want to complete this second copy at some point. So I've got a whip in here at the moment, which obviously doesn't really go along with what I'm talking about, but I only come to this when I want to do my best work. And you do have to be in a certain mood for that, because you might not want to always have to really think about your shading, think about your colour choice. So also with things being realistic, that kind of goes along with it being your best work. So something like the flower year here, when I was colouring the blue tits in this a while ago, I was really trying to make it as realistic as possible, and obviously that takes time. Realism it is a tricky thing and it will take longer than other things, so you do need to put time aside and really think about how you're colouring in regards to what you're colouring quite a bit. So that is something that does factor in when picking a page to colour, because you might just want to get the page done in a couple of hours, or you know, just colour a small page that only takes half an hour or so, rather than spending multiple nights, days and even weeks colouring one page. So if you're in the mood for it, absolutely go for it, and I do have to be in the right sort of mindset to want to colour realism. And the final thing that I think is a style that is very, very common in our books is whimsical pictures. So for example, Clara Markova's books. So with these, it's really nice because although I do want to keep it fairly simple in terms of my colour choice and try to keep a colour palette, it is whimsical, so you don't really have to worry about it. And if you want to make things realistic, you absolutely can, but sometimes you might not really feel you need to. I mean, with this sky, I just felt like adding the yellow dots to make it look like fireflies. I used tons of glitter in these books, so if you're also, in terms of embellishment, going for something which is glittery and, you know, stickled up if you have them, or using glitter gel pens or white gel pen, then that is also a fun element to think about. And if you're not going to use any of that and you're just going to do straight colouring, that's also something to consider. So in terms of what I'm talking about with how I pick a page, sometimes it can depend on what pencils you want to use, because in some books I just use certain types of pencils. Like in the Ink House, I just use oil-based pencils and a few Prismacolors here and there. So with some things you do have to think, well, what pencils am I in the mood to colour with? And depending on the papers, as I have also mentioned in another video of mine, you know, you may only like using certain pencils in a book, but if you're not feeling the polychromos and you want to use the Prismacolor, that can also help you decide what book to colour in. So there are many things in that sense that can help you pick a page. Something that is also common each month is colour alongs. So sorry, my dad and Tom have just come back, but so there are lots of colour alongs going on every month, and I have got a whip going at the moment in Worlds Within Worlds. So I picked the page to colour because it went with the colour along, and that was Effie Colours Dinosaurs in August colour along. So, you know, that was easy because I went to this book because I knew there were dinosaur pictures in it, and I thought, right, I'm going to colour this page. So it can sometimes help having that brief to pick a page, because you don't have to be stuck with tons and tons of books. And especially if the colour along is more specific, you know, whether it's catered to one specific book or one artist or one theme, it's much easier to then pick the books out of your collection that match. So I didn't have any books apart from this which had dinosaurs in, I don't think, so it was really easy to pick the page. There's also a colour along going on this month with this book, Die Welt unter Lupe zu Wasser by Rita Berben, and I haven't coloured a page in it yet. I'm hoping to, but again, I can go straight to this book and know, well, there's a colour along this month, do I feel like colouring a picture in it? And that can really help. So colour alongs are definitely a good thing to help if you're stuck. So another key thing, and I'm going to bring Ivy and the Ink Butterfly back out, is whether you're colouring a book in or out of order, as I mentioned before. So if you're colouring it in order, it forces you to colour the pictures that you're not so into colouring, whether that's because they're really detailed or it's just not to your taste. If you're really wanting to stick to that rigid pattern of colouring in order to one day get it finished, then it's easy to pick the page because you just know you're going to the next page. And that's why I've kind of come to a halt with this at the moment, the Wonder Room page in Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, because I'm just not feeling like colouring it at the moment. and you know, that's fine, but I know that I will have to finish this before I go on to the next page, or as I mentioned before, I will start these next 2 pages and have them going on with this just for a bit of interest. But if you're going out of order and you're just doing whatever you want, then it does have that extra level of, oh, what do I colour? So what I'm going to do is put all of these books to the side and explain to you in a voiceover how and why I've picked certain pages from a book. So yeah, I will do that now. So as you can see here, I've got some sticky notes and I am going through Midnight Masquerade by Hannah Carlson and picking out some pictures that I might be interested in colouring. And my thought process when going through this is maybe picking pictures that are something a bit different for me that I might not have coloured before, or a technique that I might want to try, or something that I really love colouring. And when I do go through pages, sometimes it does take me a long time to figure out what I want to colour. Sometimes I have to look through multiple books to find something that I'm interested in doing. And because there are so many artists out there now, one of the main things that can be tricky is actually working out what style you want to colour. Whether you want something more whimsical or something more realistic, something with thick black lines, something with thin lines, something with greyed outlines like Aries books. So you can see here, I originally started with 3 post-it notes. I actually ended up going to 4, and I don't think you really have to put a number on how many pictures you think you might want to do. Something that's always good is to just have post-it notes constantly in your books of pictures that you would like to colour, because then when you go to a book and you see you have post-it notes in them, you can just go straight to those pages. And sometimes I flip through a book multiple times, and sometimes I look at pages really closely. So here I was kind of pretty sure on my decision, but I couldn't make up my mind out of the 3 pictures that I had already picked out which ones I would be willing to lose to have the moth or butterfly, so I ended up going for 4. So as you have just seen from that small clip there, I was flicking through Midnight Masquerade by Hannah Carlson and picking some pictures that I might be interested in doing. So I'll kind of take you through why I picked each page. So what I tend to do is if I'm having a bit of a colouring slump or I'm not really sure what I want to colour, I just flick through my books to try and get inspiration, look at some of my completed pages for techniques that I enjoyed doing and wanted to do again. So I started out with 3 post-it notes. I actually ended up picking 4 pictures, but that's okay, you don't have to limit yourself to a certain amount. But this was the first page that I picked. It's not as a double spread, I picked this as a single page. And the reason I picked this one is because I wanted something a bit different. So I hadn't really coloured anything like this before, and also it went along with the colour along. There's a masquerade colour along going on this month. And so yeah, that's obviously great because it goes along with the colour along, and it's also fairly simple, so you do have to think about, do I want something that will take ages or something that won't be too strenuous? And because I haven't coloured that many pages this month, I'm kind of opting for that, something that isn't as detailed, so that's why I kind of picked that one. We have this one because I absolutely love colouring bottles and things, as you know, and using my glazed pen, and that's a technique I have been loving recently, so that's why I picked this page. It's one that really interests me, it's not too detailed, and I will get to play around with lots of techniques in this, which I think is great. And you know, it's just something that I can fall back on that I've done before, and it won't pressure me too much. You know, it's something that is just fun and I've done before. So we then have the next page, which is this one. So obviously there's animals in this one, which is something a bit different. but I really enjoyed doing first, so it might be something that I would want to do again. Again, it's not very detailed, and I could imagine what some of the colours would be, and that's something really important. You need to kind of be able to see some of the colours on the page. If you can already imagine how some things will be coloured, that kind of gives you an indication that that will probably be a good page, because you're inspired by what's there already. And it can sometimes be scary looking at a black and white page with no colour on it, and just, you know, staring at the blank bits and, you know, a blank background. But there's so much you can do. So the final picture that I ended up going with was this one, which I believe is a moth, but you could easily make it a butterfly. And I picked this one because I was inspired when I looked at it to make it the same colours as my butterfly from Ivy and Inky Butterfly. It's a colour palette that I'm quite confident with. I've done quite a few times before, so again I would find it quite easy to colour, and I really like the spherical look of it. And because it's repeated on both sides, you wouldn't really have to think about what you're colouring too much, which is always great. So I hope this kind of helps, showing my process of picking through a few pages that I might be interested in colouring. Now I think about it, I should probably put all the page flags back. But yeah, that's kind of just how I would go about it. So if you're not feeling like colouring on a day, don't force yourself to do it, because you won't be doing your best work. And that's happened to me many times, and you know, then sometimes I just regret colouring because I know that it's not my best work, and then I'm not fully happy with it. So, you know, it's really important that what you're colouring is what you're happy with. So I think that's pretty much all I've got to say. If you have any more questions on this topic, please let me know, because it is something that I think does overwhelm people, especially if they're newer to colouring. And I think that as long as you're happy with what you're colouring, that's the main thing, but getting there is the hard part. So what I would say is that today, if you want to start a new page and you're not sure what to colour, get out a few of your favourite books, ones that you know you want to do a page in. Flip through them, put some page tags on them, look at the pages and say, well, can I imagine what the colours would be? Is it, you know, a colours popping out to me? Can I imagine how that would look at the end? And your colour palettes will change over time. There are some things that I thought would look really good, and then they didn't. So the picture that I did in Fairy Celebrations with the cherries, I was originally going to do a pink background, and then I went, you know, I didn't think it would work in the end. So, you know, your ideas do change, but it's important that when you're starting that picture, you're really passionate about that page. And again, if it's something that you're doing in order, don't press yourself to have to work through it really, really fast. So with the Wonder Woman page, I'm taking a bit of a break. That's absolutely fine. So, you know, just because it's a really detailed page and it's the next page in that book, it doesn't mean that I have to colour it straight away. I can come back to it whenever I want. So yeah, I hope that's helped. And if you have any more suggestions for me, please leave them down below. As always, my email is in the description, so if you want to contact me about anything colouring related, please feel free to do so. And all my links will be down below, including the link to my stationery shop on my website. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.